So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my Apple iPhone 11 Pro Max full review. Now, I want to make one thing very clear before we continue on in this video. This video is being shot on the Apple iPhone 11, and the audio is not from the iPhone 11, as you can see right here. I wouldn't use that. It's just not better than a mic in studio. But this is the camera quality, and I do have studio lights, so don't expect the camera to be this sharp if you're not under studio lighting indoors, but still, you can see that it's a very good camera, and I wanted to use it to showcase how good these cameras really are and how useful they can be, as that is really the main selling point of iPhone this year. So let's begin by talking about my experience with the body and the build, the design. So first of all, I do love Apple's industrial design. I do think it's a very premium feeling phone, especially with this textured matte feeling kind of back glass. It's just beautiful feeling. It's really nice to look at. While it's not the most flashy looking, texture, it is very practical for the day-to-day. You see there's hardly any fingerprints on here. You don't really get any smears or nothing on this back glass. Now the sides are stainless steel, which also gives this phone a hefty feel. So, for the money, it still feels like you paid the bucks for it, especially with that stainless steel giving it that heft. Now, in terms of the overall looks, I keep thinking about the XS Max because the phone essentially felt like that holding it in hand over these almost past month now. So essentially, I feel like I'm just using a refined XS Max, really. That's basically what I can say about this so far. However, that camera design is definitely sticking out there and something that is definitely noticeable difference. And somebody's using 11 Pro Max if you see that camera hump right there, or at least 11 Pro. I like that they removed the Apple logo here. You can see no Apple logo. Over my time, I really noticed that looks pretty clean using this phone. So I do like that. And buttons are in the same place. Overall, the design, weighty, premium feeling, not too slippery. These stainless steel sides right here are pretty grippy. So gotta say, this phone right here is a huge thumbs up in terms of design. However, I will say that it's not really surprising. Like, it's kind of similar looking to iPhones before, but I think that the user who buys this phone is absolutely not going to be disappointed with what Apple has given them for this money. It actually feels like you got what you paid for, regardless of the fact that it's not super innovative or different looking. Okay, so when it comes to the display of the 11 Pro Max, it's been nothing but a pleasure to use. Now, you would think that this display is not that much improved over the XS Max, and you probably would be right if you were only looking at the way it looks, on first glance. But if you actually pay attention to the details, the iPhone 11 Pro Max looks a lot brighter than the iPhone XS Max. It also has better accuracy, I think, in terms of color reproduction. But really, I just noticed it being a lot brighter. It's just about as smooth as XS Max. But really, this has just been a beautiful display to use. And in terms of just pure quality, reading on this thing, watching content, super sharp, super bright in any situation. I think you're just absolutely going to love this display, except for if you don't like notches. Now, that's still there for the iPhone, but many people have gotten over this at this point, and I think you can too, and just appreciate the quality of this phone. Now, one thing I don't like about this display, however, is they got rid of 3D touch, which actually feels a lot slower here with this haptic feedback, and it kind of cheapens the feel a little bit of the 11 Pro Max, makes it feel like an 11 with this haptic touch. So I wish they would have kept 3D touch, but I can see why people are saying it's an aging technology. It did come out a while ago, but how is this any better? A haptic feedback, really? Like, come on, Apple. So yeah, overall, the display, huge thumbs up. Only thing I'm missing here is maybe like a ProMotion 120 hertz smooth refresh rate. So the actual quality of the panel itself, Super Retina XDR, beautiful colors right here, beautiful brightness. You're gonna be really in love with this display. So software experience on 11 Pro Max, this iOS 13.1.2 has been nothing short of a nice improvement over 12. Other than that, really, the dark mode is the biggest thing that I really noticed when using this that I really wouldn't want to go back to 12 for. But other than that, other features have been improved in this phone. You do get shortcuts right off the start, and utilities. You can see right here, I do have shortcuts built right into iOS 13. There are lots of improvements, including the new Memoji stickers in the messages. Also, we do have some improvements in the Maps application when navigating. Find My also brings two applications together. there's a lot of little tweaks and refinements here in this iOS software, and Apple has been really on a fast pace of updating this stuff. In addition, nice accessibility features in voice control, but the actual experience of iOS is still iOS. It's, it's still pretty basic, grid of icons. They do have refinements and tweaks, and this is the best version of iOS ever. I do notice a lot of differences in the camera, but I think that's mostly to accommodate for the iPhone 11 Pro Max's new camera setup. However, I'm not like sold on just iOS 13 because older iPhones could get this software as well. So it's not like a benefit to buy the 11 Pro Max that you're getting iOS 13. It really isn't. But does it run amazing on here? Yes, it does, especially after the first couple of updates. It's now starting to run very amazing. So yeah, iOS, you know what it is. If you love it, you love it. If you hate it, you hate it. You definitely want the 11 Pro Max if you want the best of iOS on a mobile smartphone. Okay guys, so in terms of performance, I covered this already multiple times. Still no dedicated split screen multitasking here for iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is kind of sad considering that, there's a lot of screen space here, so Apple could easily do that. Maybe we'll see it with the next edition, but you've been seeing in my speed test that this phone is just screaming fast. I think it got beat by a couple of phones already, but in terms of just everyday apps, but in terms of games and everything combined, it's a very optimized experience. The A13 Bionic chip in here, 4 gigabytes of RAM is a little bit like why Apple couldn't you at least went to 6 gigabytes of RAM, but still, the phone is super smooth. It's screaming fast. You're never really going to notice a performance slowdown for this phone, and that's the point. When you're paying this kind of money, no slowdowns at all, Apple. We don't want that, and guess what? You don't get that for the 11 Pro Max. So performance, top notch on this phone. Have been loving it, and if you buy this device, you will too. Okay, when it comes to storage, yeah, horrible value when it comes to the price. I know, 64 gigabytes, $10.99. What is that? Like, yes, you can say Apple's storage is a lot more efficient. You don't use up as much when you're using it, and this is true. This is definitely true. They did do some updates in the past to make it that way. But still, I mean, 64 gigs is 64 gigs. Luckily, I went with the 256 gigs, but not every user might be able to do so because that's an extra 150 they don't want to pay. So bad value, I think, in terms of storage. But in terms of the storage speed that's on this phone, it's very fast storage. So that's a thumbs up. But really, I just wish Apple would put more storage on this phone to start. And if you're watching this video, Apple, try to get at least 128 gigs on the starting phone next year. I think your users would really appreciate that for sure. Okay, so the main star of the show, the cameras. And you've probably seen a ton of videos already or content about these cameras, so we don't necessarily have to go through everything. But what I can say is that the cameras are really smooth when going through each lens. This is something I didn't see. It's almost like you can't even tell you're switching lenses. That's how smooth Apple has pulled this off for the 11 Pro Max. See how smooth that is when you go through? That's something I haven't seen on other smartphones. I really like how Apple brought the aspect ratio right here below the, little changing between lenses. I like how they put everything down here. Timer, they have the filters here. I never really like reaching up to the top for anything, so I like that that's there. In addition to that, the portrait mode is better than ever at fixing blur around edges. It's gotten way better at stuff like that. In addition, high key light mono is here, panoramics here. Everything is here you want. Their video can go 4K 60, slow motion. In addition to that, if you flip this camera around to the front, this camera also gives you plenty to do on the front. You can do 4K 60, slow motion video over here, and photo modes as well, portrait mode on the front. It's got it all. I mean, really, this is the total package when it comes to camera. One thing I still want Apple to do is give me a little icon or a little setting to go to my settings right from the camera app itself. It does get a little bit annoying if you got this thing propped up on a tripod, you're in a shoot or you're in the middle of a film making project or something like that, and you got to go back in the settings, and then you got to go find that camera section, or you could just universal search at the top. But still, you got to go find this stuff and take a picture. Now, you can capture photos outside the frame. So if you have enough light and we take a picture here like so on the iPhone 11 Pro Max's camera. So if you have a photo that shows the bars on the side where you can actually see it, that means that you can edit on the outside. So if we hit edit here, hit the crop, there's more information to play with here. Like you see right there, I just pinched in, I could take that wide shot, but that will be deleted after 30 days. However, you can do that, which is nice. But anyway, take a look at a few of these samples I have created on this phone. And if you want to see a more in-depth camera video, check out my camera test on the 11 Pro Max. We covered mostly just the video, but that can really show you what this thing is capable of. I'll leave a link up here or down below. All right, guys, so audio.
Galaxy S10 Plus, so that story hasn't changed much. Now, when it comes to the storage, the iPhone 11 Pro Max does...
The 11 Pro Max does have dual speakers, and they're very loud and they're very clear, even at the higher volume levels. So I don't got to go on and on about the audio. You're going to be a very happy customer. You buy this phone, you'll be very happy with the audio quality you're getting on this phone. You still have to use AirPods though if you don't want to buy, Bluetooth headset like AirPods. So keep that in mind. This doesn't have a headphone jack of any sort. That's been that way for years now for Apple. So that is still something that, depending on if you don't have Bluetooth headphones, which I don't know why you wouldn't at this point, might annoy you, but it's probably a very rare case. So biometrics, Apple did say that they were improving the Face ID to be a little bit faster and better on different angles. And I can attest that that is true. It definitely is faster and better on different angles, but it's not perfect. If you thought that, it's like miles better than the XS Max, I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. It's not miles better. It's a little bit better. It's like you literally slightly notice it. So Apple wasn't lying when they said it improved it, but they made it seem like they drastically improved it. And I don't see that to be the case. I feel like it's just a little bit better. That's all I've seen in my usage with this phone so far. I have still missed with Face ID. It's still not perfect, so I have still missed. And I don't want to sit up here and make it sound like it's a bad system. It's world class. Like, you can get into banking applications with Face ID. You can lock down your LastPass account, things like that, and you're all good to go. So Face ID is a huge thumbs up when it comes to security, but it's still not perfect. Like, if you thought it was just perfect unlocking just because they were talking about how much faster and different angles it's on, it's not there just yet. Apple has knocked it out of the park when it comes to battery with this phone. Game over. Like, there's no other phone I've used this year that has this good of standby and usage time when using the phone. The Note comes really close in usage, the Note 10 Plus, but when it comes to standby, forget about it. So the iPhone 11 Pro Max is probably the best battery life phone I've used all year long when it comes to the flagship segment. So definitely, if you care a lot about your battery health, battery life, this phone is going to go the distance, and you really get what you pay for here with the 11 Pro Max in this department, especially this year. We don't know how it's going to perform in a couple of years. I'll give you some updates then, but for now, it's definitely really, really strong stuff here in the battery life, and probably the most impressive section about this phone. Also, that fast charging is super useful. Now, it's not the fastest charging on the market, but still, it's a lot faster than before, and you definitely take huge notice of that. So all around, the battery package is a huge reason why I think a lot of people will be purchasing iPhone 11 this year. And phone calls. The modems on this phone, not the best on the market. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And that's even in major metropolitan areas. The beef between Apple and Qualcomm is over now, but that caused them to use Intel modems here on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It was already in development. You'll probably see Qualcomm in the next iPhone, but this one, still not the best modems out there. However, that doesn't mean that you can't get 5 bars, you can't get amazing reception. You can, and the phone call quality is just fine on this phone when you do have reception. But I'm saying that I'm having a little bit of issue sometimes switching between Wi-Fi, cellular. Also, I'm having a little bit of issue sometimes having 1 bar in certain places. I don't see that typically on a Qualcomm phone. So yes, not the best reception, but phone call quality is good when using the phone. When you do have reception, it's just fine, but still, I'm just finding this to be not the best out. I think the majority of users will still be okay because it's not like it goes out all the time. It's just here and there, but just enough to notice. Okay, guys, so in conclusion, the 11 Pro Max, is it worth it? And I was very positive in this video, but it's not worth it for everyone. I think this is worth it for people who are really going to use these cameras. After the hype, once you first get the phone, if you find yourself not using a camera that much after the initial period of getting it, this might not be worth it because you really have to take advantage of these, or you're basically buying a XS Max really right here in terms of the experience. So you could just save yourself money and get a XS Max if you're not a heavy camera user, or you're using it for commercial purposes, maybe for your work, you're a blogger, you're a YouTuber, you're a content creator, you're a video professional film maker, you just need to capture some quick B-roll. If you're going to use it for stuff like that, this phone's worth it. Or if you're a really heavy user and you care much about battery life, then this phone is worth it. But if you care a lot about design, I think the notch is going away very soon, so you might want to go ahead and wait if you're that person. If you have a XS series, 10R, XS Max, you're fine in terms of the experience unless you really, really desire those cameras. Once again, maybe the new colors. Those phones are all great from last year. But if you're coming from anything like iPhone 8, 7, 6S, this is a massive upgrade I think you will appreciate. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the iPhone 11 Pro Max? Are you going to pick one up? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. This was Nick here helping you to master your technology. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well. And if you pick up an iPhone 11 Pro Max, be sure to enjoy it. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.